Dadnarok presents the Falcon and the Winter Soldier after show. This is Sean.
And this is Chris.
Hey, we're back at it again to discuss episode 3 of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This episode title is Power Broker. If you guys don't know, we do this each and every week. We review and have an after show of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We did this kind of thing for WandaVision. We did it for Mandalorian, and we'll keep on doing it. So if you guys aren't aware of what we do at Dadnarok, check out dadnarok.com. Check out our YouTube page, and be sure to like and subscribe. It helps our channel out.
And we're very interactive, so if we miss something, feel free to let us know, and we'll give you credit for it too.
Absolutely. So just off the cuff, what did you think of this episode?
My favorite episode yet.
Oh, really?
My favorite episode yet. I think the main reason for that is we got very little schmuck and a whole lot of buddy cop.
Yeah, there was a lot. Yeah,
those two bouncing off each other back and forth. Bucky going rogue, doing what he did. We'll talk about later. Come to what Sam didn't want him to do, and then seeing some familiar faces pop up. To me, this was the best episode yet. It was the longest runtime as well, I think. So it had me hooked. And basically, I watched it, and then I turned around and rewatched it almost immediately to do the notes on it because I wanted to watch it again.
Yeah, it was like 50 minutes plus. It was a decent length.
Yeah.
And I liked that they pretty much just got to Baron Zemo immediately. And it was like when Joe Pesci joined Riggs and Murtaugh in the Lethal Weapon series, just like that added spice where, they didn't really get along with him and stuff. But I thought maybe in my head, like the bulk of this episode would be the plan to get him out of jail. But no, they just went straight for it.
Yeah, I mean, they're not wasting any time. I mean, granted, these episodes are longer, but there's still only 6 of them. So if this is the 3rd episode, so we're at the middle point. And it's heating up. I mean, I like the way they're going. Mm-hmm. I like the way they're using Zemo.
Yeah,
I love it all. I love the ending because that says there's so much of a curveball into what's going to happen going forward.
Yeah,
this whole episode had me. I loved it.
Yeah, I love it. I guess we'll talk about it, but a curveball that didn't feel like it was out of the blue. You know what I mean?
It wasn't a forced curveball. It made perfect sense.
Yeah, you're like, oh, of course. Why wouldn't they be involved? I mean, let's just get into it. The episode opens with Bucky and Sam. They're together. They've decided to at least go visit Baron Zemo to try to get some information. To see what he knows, whether or not Hydra has developed their own super soldier serum. And as they're walking in, Bucky kind of stops Sam, like, hey, let me go alone because I'm former Hydra. He wants,
I've got history. You're an Avenger type thing. Yeah, he won't talk to you at all.
Yeah.
Come to find out, Bucky had his own plan already that Sam had no idea about.
Yeah, how'd you feel about Bucky kind of taking the reins up front and kind of making these moves without consulting Sam first, since they're so in this together?
Yeah, they're in it together, but it's very, very obvious that they really don't want to be in it together. So, I mean, it's kind of a forced relationship, an arranged marriage.
Yeah.
And I love it. I mean, they want to do their own thing. They're bouncing off each other. But, I mean, Bucky's always had that wild card in him. Right. And I love that they're not getting rid of that wild card, portion from him.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it too. It's a nice dynamic. But so they have a dialogue here, Baron Zemo and Winter Soldier. It's funny. I didn't think I'd be calling him Winter Soldier, but the show is called The Winter Soldier, whether Bucky wants to be called that or not. And it gets called it in this episode for sure.
Zemo tries to use those the key words to try to trigger him again out the gate.
Yeah. And it didn't work, but Zemo didn't expect it to work. He was just like, I just wanted to see how you'd react.
Yeah, then this is the new you, apparently.
Right, yeah. But what transpired to really kind of get Bucky whole on board? They kind of glossed over that as far as what Baron Zemo said to him to convince Bucky that they needed to get him out of there completely.
Well,
you think that was Bucky's intention from the get-go?
Yeah. I'd have no doubt in my mind that was his intention. No matter what Zemo said, Zemo was coming along. And he wouldn't say no to getting out of this German prison.
Yeah.
So he was going to now the level of him like actually cooperating.
Right.
I don't know if that would have been like expected.
Yeah.
But I think even he even said it himself in the episode. He put an end to the Winter Soldier program once before. He said he can do it again.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think we know his whole mindset. You know, super soldiers and Avengers are bad for the world.
Yeah, he just doesn't want superheroes at all.
Yeah. So he thinks it's basically a plague.
Yeah.
You know, to what's going on. So the fact that he can actually try to, I don't know if the word redeem himself is the proper way to go about it with him, but
their motivations are definitely aligned right now. So it makes
yeah.
sense for them to work together because, I mean, Bucky and Sam are trying to stop whatever the super soldier thing is going on because that's the last thing they need. You know, they trusted Steve to have these powers, but just any old radical, flag smasher group for them to have these super soldier powers, it's rough.
It's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend type thing.
Yeah, exactly. Which is always fun for like an action movie kind of. And I could feel the action in the show. I feel like this show or this episode throughout had a lot more action, and instead of like kind of one action set piece, it had like action kind of sprinkled throughout the entirety of the episode, which was cool.
From the from ZEMO breaking out of prison, one fight turns into 3 guards, and however Bucky broke it down, super calm. Sam's like, "Oh, you did something." Yeah. And sure enough, ZEMO walks through, the curtain there in the prison uniform.
It was so funny how they did that, how they edited that, because when Sam and Bucky are walking around that warehouse, I'm thinking that Bucky's about to tell Sam his plan on how to get ZEMO out. But no, they're just waiting for ZEMO to arrive. Like ZEMO already had the plan worked out, and he's like, "No, I'll just meet me here later. I'll be there."
Yeah. Oh, I loved it when it was like, if I may, like they both went, "No."
Yeah.
They shut them up together.
Yeah.
I don't know. I enjoy ZEMO. I mean, I think most people could relate to his thinking.
Yeah.
There's a line, later in the show where he's talking about, his thoughts on things. And he's one of those extremely dangerous people.
Sure.
And the reason I say dangerous is because he's smart.
Yes.
And what he says, a lot of people will relate to.
Oh, yeah.
So they're the scary ones, not the radicalized ones, not these flag smashers.
Right.
They're very short-sighted.
Yeah.
ZEMO is he looks at the long game.
And ZEMO could easily take over a group like the Flag Smashers and like bring them aboard to his intentions and lead people like that. You could even see it just later in the episode when they're on the jet plane and how he like just easily talks to Sam and like, how he's trying to get on Sam's side about this stuff about like, hey, this, they had this other program and, I don't know. It was just, I enjoy Baron Zemo's character too. Marvel does this really well. Like with Killmonger in Black Panther and even Thanos, you could see his point of view, even though like killing half of the universe, you're like, well, that's not good. But his reasoning, you could see it. It's like,
he was killing half the universe to save
the other half
planet. Yeah. So you need to kill half the people to save the other half, essentially.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's reasoning and there is thought behind these guys that are bad guys in this universe. Yeah. That you can see why they think that they were actually good.
Yeah, and Baron Zemo, we see like full on comic book Baron Zemo in this episode, which is cool because in Captain America: Civil War, it was the same actor, and we kind of got a little bit of backstory how we had wife and children that died in Sokovia, and it really kind of set him on this path of getting revenge and kind of breaking up the Avengers. But yeah, we get a lot of backstory and we find out, he's rich. They step on a private plane.
Yeah. And he says he's a baron. He was royalty.
He was like, gentlemen, I am a baron.
Yeah. Oh, I love the back and forth when he was like talking about what happened in Sokovia.
Yeah.
He's like, the city was gone, then it's set in ruins. And have you guys even been back to the memorial? And he's like, of course you haven't.
Sure. Yeah. He didn't even need them to say anything because he knew.
Yeah. So there's such a disdain he still has for them.
Right.
It's very obvious. But he knows they both kind of need each other right now.
Yeah, it's kind of a Loki thing where it's like because he's so good at what he does and he's so smart and like, 3 steps ahead of the plan and stuff. Like I
Yeah.
want him to be on our side because I think he'd make a heck of a good guy, but it's like it's always like he could just turn on you at any
He'll
point.
flip in a minute. Well, you referenced to a conversation on the plane itself, and
Yeah.
there was a lot that went into it, and we're talking about like how like smart and how calculated he is.
Yeah.
There's a conversation that he's having here that the one I'm talking about is like, you know what? Whoa, I'm sitting back. I'm like, I would, if I was in this world, this conversation would make sense to me, and it would probably speak directly to me.
Right.
And here's a clip of it.
One thing when I met him, the danger with people like him, America's super soldiers, is that we put them on pedestals.
Watch your step, ZEMO.
They become symbols, icons, and then we start to forget about their flaws.
Yeah, that's it right there.
Right.
I mean, we can see that in our own society.
Yeah.
When we're looking at like sports athletes,
Yeah.
we idolize, we lift up, and then we kind of like want to turn a blind eye to what their personal life is.
Right, a lot of flaws. People are people, man.
Yeah.
So it's tough. And in this universe, I mean, John Walker is the perfect example. He's getting crowds cheering for him to be, the next and new Captain America. But he's shown some sides to himself that are very different from Steve, even so far, and we're early into the season. So
even in this episode here, he's like, you know what? If we go ahead and we do it, they're not going to shake us down on how we got the job done.
right, yeah, by any means necessary.
Yeah, and that's not the Cap way.
Not typically, unless he's saving the world, then he's like by any means necessary.
Yeah.
But so we got a kind of a trio here that later becomes a quartet. We've got Cap, Bucky, and Baron Zemo, who did grab his purple hood from that
cool.
garage.
Seeing him pulled out of the car.
Yeah,
that was a pretty awesome scene. I enjoyed that.
yeah, and they made it look good. In the comics, it could look pretty ridiculous, but it looked pretty good. So he had kind of a collection of old cars in this garage, and they hop on a jet plane, and they get out of there. And I guess is Madripoor their first stop?
Madripoor they're going to see Selby in Madripoor.
Yeah,
and that's where I think the majority of the episode takes place.
Right. And we learn a lot about this new place. Madripoor is kind of big on in the comic books. It's definitely a location in the comics. It's sort of this small country or city within itself, where it's kind of like high criminal activity. A lot of Wolverine activity when Wolverine's like going through his undercover stuff and like his ninja stuff. He'll show up in Madripoor. And I think maybe even Deadpool might have been doing his thing in Madripoor too. But yeah, you could see like this is like it's like professional criminal city where it's like the criminals
uptown and then Lowtown, I think it was.
Yeah, they rule the roost, man. They got all kinds of stuff going on, and Baron Zemo's like they're pretty much all in disguise. Well, at least Sam is. Sam isn't a criminal, but Bucky has this criminal
smiling
past.
Tiger.
Yeah, smiling tiger. That was funny. Zemo just goes as himself. It's like almost like they were in Halloween costumes or something. Zemo just goes as himself. Bucky goes as his former persona, Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
He just walks around very silent. And they have to dress Sam up in this he says a pimp suit, but Zemo calls it a very fashion forward suit.
Only an American would look at it that way or something like that. He said
yeah. But he's going as this other criminal guy named Smiling Tiger, where I guess he kind of looks like. So Baron Zemo pretty much tells him like, follow my lead or else we're not going to make it out of here.
Yeah.
Like you need to be very convincing that you are this criminal element. So they kind of walk right in.
Yeah, I mean they walked in, but I mean they were noticed immediately.
Oh, sure.
Like they knew who Winter Soldier was. I mean,
right.
he stood out like a sore thumb. And if they knew who he was, they knew who Zemo was as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, when they walked in, they made an entrance, and when they got to the bar and everything, that one guy came to Zemo and said, "You're no longer welcome here."
Right.
And he said, "Oh, he's had some type of smart comeback about something about the power broker wants to say I can't be here. Have him come tell me himself."
Right.
Or something on those lines. And that's when it went sideways. And basically, we seen Winter Soldier. That was fantastic.
That was
fantastic.
Yeah. That when was how he was when he was under mind control.
Yeah, when he said attack, he just flipped. Like Zemo said it, fell right back into his old self.
Yeah, and I think you're meant to kind of second guess Bucky, like, how close is Bucky on that line of just like, how much of the Winter Soldier is still rattling around in that brain, that kind of thing. And because Sam even looks at him, he's like, "You good?" And Bucky has to give him a little nod, like, they're good. But yeah, he got scary there. And well, it was all, you find out a little later, it was also Baron Zemo could, have people see him be in control of Winter Soldier, like he's my lapdog kind of thing.
Yeah,
where he's like mine to give away. I'll give you Winter Soldier, and
give me this the serum or something like that. He was looking for with Selby, and that was a new character. Yeah, we've never seen her before or even reference to her.
No, yeah, so that was cool. So a brand new character named Selby. I guess she's kind of a lead in this criminal element, maybe a different faction than the Power Broker. I expected in an episode titled "The Power Broker" that we would meet the Power Broker.
Actually, get Sam, yeah,
but not yet. I'm wondering if it's going to be a bigger kind of reveal because they keep mentioning Power Broker. Yet where the heck?
It's got to be something, and that could be something that they don't do things on accident.
Yeah,
but they do things for us.
Right.
And then we read things into it, i.e., WandaVision.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe Mephisto is the Power Broker.
There we go. Or what if it's Steve himself?
Yeah, it's old Cap,
old Steve. Yeah,
the Power Broker, just smiling away.
Oh, that'd be terrible.
That'd be crazy.
That would break the internet.
What about that? What about that drink that Sam had to guzzle down?
Oh, like the snake shot or something.
Yeah,
like that?
What was that about?
He was like, no. He struggled with it, but he had to get it down.
And then he gave a thumbs up afterwards.
The thumbs up was the worst thing he could have done.
Like, Sam, I don't think any criminal gives thumbs up.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
But man, they got up there and they were talking to Selby. And dude, that conversation didn't go very well for her.
No. Not at first. She was very, cold towards Zemo, but then Zemo, he's got a magical sense of words. He was able to kind of charm her a little bit, and that's at the point where it's like, hey, for some of this information about the super soldier serum that's out there, I'll give you Winter Soldier, which was a very interesting proposition for her. She was liking that, and right as it about she was about to give some information up, Sam gets a phone call.
Oh, yeah, from his sister. Then he starts playing off. Then she says, Sam, at the end. She's like, who's Sam? And
right.
And you've seen, like, Zemo and sitting there like...
They were just waiting. Yeah.
He's like, this is going to go bad. I'm waiting for it.
If you're going to be walking through a criminal city in disguise as a criminal, shut your phone off. At least put it on silent.
I feel like that's, like, 101.
Yeah, rookie mistake. Come on, Sam.
Oh, that was. But who shot her? Who do you think shot her? Was it someone from the Power Broker, or was it who we find out later in the episode we haven't talked about yet? Which I don't think it would have been her, but I think she's got some other deals going on.
I don't know. At first, I thought maybe it was like the Power Broker or an agent of the Power Broker. But I don't know, because later in the episode, spoiler, it's Sharon Carter that we find out is kind of saves these guys' butts. I'm thinking it was just Sharon Carter. That's what my thought is, because it was kind of weird to have that, that kind of misdirect.
I just had the weirdest thought jump into my mind.
What's that?
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead.
What if she's the broker?
Oh, what if she's a Power Broker?
What if she is? What if we've already seen the Power Broker, and since she is ousted from the U.S. and she can't come back, and she's so far into this dark side of the world. She has actually become the Power Broker.
That's probably a good call because she's done a lot of work here. We meet Sharon, and I don't know. It's not too much farther in the episode, so I guess we can start talking about this.
Yeah. Did you know it was her immediately?
Yeah, I recognized her.
No. Before she was even shown, did you recognize her call sign?
Oh no! Well, was it Agent 13? Did they call her by that? I must have missed it.
Baron Zemo came out and said, "You must have a guardian angel."
Oh, is that her?
That's one of her call signs. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's
as soon as he said guardian angel, I'm like, I got something. But I was like, and I knew she was in it at some point because they've showed her.
Right.
And I mean, it only makes sense.
Yeah.
And that would also fall in line with the whole Selby thing. If things were going to go south, she was the guardian angel and took her out because things were flipping upside down at that point.
Right. Yeah. Where she had to pull the trigger in order for them to get out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was her who shot him, but I don't know if it was power broker wise or if it was the guardian angel thing.
Right. Or both, maybe. Yeah.
Or it could be both. Yeah.
Because that's an interesting thing. Because so when we last left her character, so Sharon Carter is like the great niece or granddaughter of Agent Carter, the one that
Peggy
Steve
Carter.
ends up with from, the British, intelligence soldier who started SHIELD and everything. But anyway, the last time we saw her in the MCU, it was Captain America Winter Soldier. And she was working within SHIELD. SHIELD was infiltrated by Hydra. She was one of the ones that basically was pointing guns at her coworkers because she didn't know, who was a Hydra agent within SHIELD. And that whole thing came tumbling down, basically. So after that aftermath, I don't know if we ever got more of Sharon. Oh, she might have been in Civil War because I think she assisted Captain America, like getting his old outfit and his old shield back.
She stole the shield and she stole Falcon's wings and everything, and that's how she became on the wrong side.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why there was like a war and everything. And if she steps back in U.S. territories, she'll be arrested. That's kind of why she went completely underground.
Yeah, and she's been busy since that. I forget, in this episode, do we find out if she blipped or maybe not? She must have been around this whole time.
I don't think she blipped because she built this whole the syndicate of trading all this art and everything and build a life for herself, which tells me she didn't blip.
And you know what? By the end of the episode, how they kind of part ways, like, okay, you get me back to America and I'll, help out or whatever. They kind of part ways, or she parts ways with Sam and Bucky, but she's going to be back before, episode 6 or whatever.
So. Yeah, because when she got in the car, she said something that somebody said, "Oh, we got a problem here," and that's what keyed me on to thinking she is the actual broker.
I bet she is. That's a good call.
Because all she wants now is revenge on the people that have kept her away from her family.
Right.
So if she's building this super soldier army now, it would basically take an revenge on the Avengers and anyone that had anything to do with it.
Wow, that'd be intense.
I'm gonna run with it. Just like you went ahead and claimed your Isaac or Isaiah. Yeah. And you nailed it. I think it just may have dawned on me.
Well, there you go. Trying to think what happens afterwards. So they basically, she rescues them because once Selby is killed, like this text goes out to the entire city, like kill Smiling Tiger, kill Winter Soldier, almost like a bounty. I was expecting the Mandalorian to pick up his little data pad or something.
Or start beeping, like a tracker on him.
Yeah, a little tracker. But she gets them out of there. She throws some bullets and she's like, let's go to Hightown. I've got a place we can hide out. And Baron Zemo's like, yep, good idea. Let's all go. So that's what they do for a spell to let the heat die down a little bit. And what's next? And what do they do after that?
They find out the name of the scientist, Nagel.
Oh, that's right.
And they go and see him. And basically, it's a container in a shipping yard that had basically a fake back on the. Now, see, I wasn't sure if they're going to walk in and someone was going to slam the door on them.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting.
I was kind of waiting, and then you seen Zemo.
Maybe even her, like maybe even Sharon was like tricking them or something.
Yeah. Well, at that point, I don't know if I was buying that, but no, I mean, I don't think it's far fetched.
They were just in my place, but now I'm going to put them in a shipping container.
Yeah, right. And they go visit this guy that was working on Isaiah. Come to find out. And he was actually hired by the CIA after Hydra fell to work on the super soldier serum. So he's been on both sides of it. And then he was blipped and he came back and the CIA went ahead and basically dropped the program he was working on. Yeah. So the power broker is the one that went ahead and funded his research. I mean, it's just a normal scientist thing. You know what I mean? You go where the money is. So it's not it's not surprising. It's really legit, legit on how that would work. But he was on the verge of doing it again.
Yeah, well, I caught this guy's dialogue where he said he's pretty much been the only scientist since Erskine, I believe. Erskine was the name of the German scientist that actually made Steve Captain America back in the 40s. He's been the only scientist that's been able to recreate the super soldier serum, but this time without the big Vita rays, without the big machinery, without changing the person's body and bulking it up. Like people can be more covert and themselves by just kind of drinking this one serum.
Yeah.
And you find out that's what Carly has had this whole time. It's like it wasn't medicine, like you called it. I think that first episode. I don't think that's medicine. I think that's super soldier serum.
Yeah, super soldier serum. Yep.
And that's what she's had. And it's a limited dosage, right? Apparently, because he's making it in this little laboratory / shipping cargo container thing. There's more vials of it. But after a pretty drawn out gun battle, this shipping container laboratory explodes.
Yeah, this the scientist wasn't getting out of this. Either Bucky was going to kill him, but Bucky didn't. An RPG came through basically the side of this shipping container.
Yeah,
and miraculously somehow our heroes got out of it before it blew up.
Well, it eliminated the scientist, and it eliminated whatever amount that he had. So that kind of takes that out of the equation as far as mass producing more super soldier serum. Pretty much what else or whatever amount is out there in the world currently, that's what you're working with now. So you're not gonna have to worry about another few vials coming out afterwards. So that's plot wise, I think that was very important. But Carly says as much. I guess Carly.
Now they need to come to her because they've got the 20. I guess only 20 vials that is in the world now. So now they have the leverage on the power broker. They're no longer running from him. He needs to come, or she needs to come to them now. Yeah, and not in a mean way. He's going to have to be like kissing their butts, basically, because they have the power at this point. There's no more super soldier serum out there. Not only do they have the serum, but they have it in their veins as well. Right. Yeah, they got leverage and the strength. Yeah. But let's see. How do we round out this episode? What else is going on? Well, I mean, we talked about the conversation with the doctor and everything, and kind of glossed over. You want to kind of see a little bit of what happened in that? Yeah, let's see that.
I was brought into Hydra's Winter Soldier program to pick up their work after the 5 failed test subjects in Siberia. When Hydra fell, I was recruited by the CIA. They had blood samples from an American test subject with semi-stable traces of serum in his system. After much labor, I was able to isolate the necessary compounds in his blood. There you go. That goes Isaiah's blood. Yeah, it goes back to Isaiah and how he said he was just basically a pincushion. They were pulling blood from him left and right and locking him up. And then you can see it in Sam's face again. Every time you hear something about, Isaiah, he gets him more and more irritated. Right. And I mean, rightfully so. Yeah. Apparently Isaiah was being poked and prodded by our government and Hydra and just all kinds of people. Just you can get a good idea of why he is in the state he is now and just doesn't trust anyone besides maybe his grandson. I think we actually may have goofed up on something. I'm kind of looking at some things. Nagel, the scientist, was actually killed by ZEMO. ZEMO put a couple bullets in him prior to the explosion. Oh, did he? I don't remember that part. Yeah, I'm looking at my notes here. See, that's the issue where I watched the episode first thing in the morning, and then I have an entire day, and then we do this recap later at night. Oh, yeah, almost as late as we possibly can. Yeah. If I remember right, thinking back at it, ZEMO put the bullets in him, and then the RPG came through, and it blew up. And then they couldn't find ZEMO. Then ZEMO was walking on top of the shipping container, put his mask on. Right. And then shot that gas line. Which blew up. And then he went and got his car in a gunfight. And at this point, I thought that ZEMO was betraying them and maybe escaping and taking off. But no, he was just, getting them out of it and came back to pick them up. How do you leave me in a gunfight to get the car? There's too many Bad Boys references in this movie. I know. Between Club Hell and this. They really went for the action. Oh man, but I mean that's one thing, and I mean that's really it. I do you think there's any relevance to the shipping container number 2461? It's probably some kind of reference, some kind of some little Easter egg or something like that. I mean, so. They don't do that. Like I said earlier, they don't do any of that stuff on accident. Everything is timed out pretty bad. Not pretty bad, pretty well on how it's connected in all the different areas. Yeah. So before we get to the final scene, which was kind of it's in our thumbnail, it was kind of a surprise. John Walker, what was our new Captain America? What was he up to? I know he and his partner Battlestar
went to a safe house of the Flag Smashers, the one that we saw, the safe house that we saw last week. And he gets in the guy's face, the one that was like feeding, the Flag Smashers and being all generous with them.
Yeah.
He gets in their face. He's really nasty towards this guy too. You will give me this information, just kind of really going through, and he gets spat upon. The guy
he said, do you know who I am? And he spits on him and says, yeah, I know who you are, and I don't care.
Yeah, and you could tell that really made John Walker pretty angry. But I don't know. So it's this where he feels like he's hitting a dead end, and Battlestar basically asks him, like, what do we do now? And John Walker says, we need to start working outside the lines. I guess he said something to the fact that maybe he, instead of, if he can't join forces and work alongside of Buck and Sam and Bucky, then he probably is just going to like follow them or
he has nothing to track now.
Yeah,
he's going to always be 1 or 2 steps behind them. Because I mean, he showed up at the prison, and they're like, did he break him out? And they're like, there's no way we can say that without any type of proof. So there's no way they can pin that on him. But now they know ZEMO's back out there, and the only thing that makes sense is if ZEMO's with them, and then that whole situation. That's how it ends. The more Bucky and Sam we get, the less of this clown we get. That's the amount I like. And it was funny because it came out, and there was an actual interview with the guy who plays him.
Yeah,
and he said he loves how people like me cannot stand his character, which tells me it's 100% done on purpose.
Sure, Russell Wyatt. Yeah, he's a good actor. Or Wyatt Russell's his name. He's actually Kurt Russell's son.
He's a clown. That's what he is.
So I mentioned Carly. I mentioned Carly earlier. How she was talking about how the power broker will have to come see her now, but she does something that's the Flag Smashers are this weird thing where it's like you kind of want to be on their side. Like, are they Robin Hood? Are they like doing good things? Like, is it going to turn out that these guys actually aren't the bad guys? They're just like trying to do the right things by kind of shady means, and you can really change them or get on their side. But then she does this episode that really kind of, spoils that, where she's got these folks tied up in like a warehouse, I guess people that were against her or, holding.
Well, it's like they were like the higher ups
or supplies.
Yeah. 6 months of supplies that could be used for everybody.
Yeah.
And basically calls them blind, takes it from them. And
yeah. And they were tied up. They were subdued. They were like, they weren't going anywhere. And she blows the place up with them inside. And the Flag Smasher that's even with her, he's like, whoa, like, was that necessary kind of thing?
People are in there, yeah.
Yeah, and she looks at him and she's like, that's the only way that they'll listen, I guess, whoever, the people at the top that are holding these things. Yeah. So it's another, it's almost another John Walker moment, like by any means necessary kind of thing. It's like, how far is Carly willing to go? Well, killing is not out of the question for her. And, the people that she killed, these probably people just doing their jobs, people that had families, people that weren't into this thing as, much as she is, and they were disposable to her. So that kind of gives you more insight as far as Carly as a character, and it's not good.
No, it's not either. So, well, then you get that fun back and forth, like how she wanted to be a teacher, and then this took place. So you're going through that whole, like, you're enjoying the character. I think we need more of her, honestly. I think we need more of Carly's character in this show. And less of, Cap. But anyway, yeah, I mean, when that happened, when she was like, buckle your seatbelt, he's like, why? Then the car blew up, and then that building just went up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they go and how much of the heel that they're going to be, or are they going to be a stepping stone? Like, will we see them fall from the power broker, and the power broker will be the one that actually faces off against Sam and, Bucky and Cap. And, there's going to be a point. And when are we going to see Bucky and Sam take the shield? It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. It's happening.
And it's going to be a confrontation. Something's going to happen. He's going to track them down. He's going to get in their way.
Right.
And he's going to get the living crap kicked out of him.
Yeah.
By Bucky.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to come down to. Bucky's just going to whoop that big old chin off his face. and take that shit and walk away.
Well, I can't. I'm loving this show because it's a lot of. It's not just black and white. Like, as much as I love, the big Avengers movies and like Endgame and stuff. Like, you've got the one side with all of our Marvel heroes, and the other side with Thanos and all of his, aliens trying to destroy everything.
Yeah,
very black and white. You know who the heck you're rooting for. I love all the shades of gray in this series in particular, because it's like, Carly of the Flag Smashers, very endearing, very charming. You could get on her side. You love the Robin Hood aspect of her, but that she does something like kills these folks without really blinking. You've got Baron Zemo, who we know is a bad guy, who did a lot of dirty deeds, but we know his backstory too and the reasons why he's doing it. All of these people are many shades of gray that you're kind of like struggling and dealing with. Like, it's like, who are the good guys? Who are the bad guys? But everybody's kind of like wishy-washy.
Yeah,
even Buck.
So there's not a single one of them that aren't gray in their own manner.
Yeah.
In their own way.
Yeah. I mean, when Bucky has his own, he got his hands dirty and he's got his own past that he's trying to deal with.
Yeah, that book that Zemo found, had his hands on in the plane.
He must have pickpocketed him or something. He got it off him.
Oh, he grabbed him by the throat and said, "I'll end this now."
He was pissed. Yeah.
Oh man.
But how does this episode end? So Sam, Bucky, and I guess it's Baron Zemo too. They were on their way to somewhere. Where were they?
Lithuania,
going?
I think it was, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you see them walking through the street, and they're going to go into like a hotel-ish type place. They're going to kind of bed down and figure out where they're going to be going next. And all of a sudden,
Bucky tells them to head on up or go. He's just going to take a walk around the block.
Take a walk, and come to find out, he's actually picking up on some things.
He spotted some Wakandan technology.
Yes, he's seen something on the ground. He picked it up. He's hearing it beep. He's finding another one, and he lifts them up. So you think you dropped something, and sure enough, we get this.
I was wondering when you were going to show up.
Didn't go see more.
Yeah,
Dude,
that was cool.
It was one of the first reactions they got out of me on this show.
Right.
I was like, whoa! I was pumped.
I didn't recognize this actress, so I don't know. I was hoping it was going to be Denai Guerrera, of Walking Dead fame and Black Panther, her character, and she was in like Endgame and stuff too. But no, it's it just needs to be Wakandan. Somebody from Wakanda. They're all badasses.
Well, now that we have basically Wakanda, within the show now, it opens a door for other characters from Wakanda to show up.
Yeah, and I know it's Marvel's intention to create a new Disney Plus show all around Wakanda, so that's very cool. So now that Wakanda and Agents of Wakanda is like in play, which, we already had all these different factions. We had Baron Zemo, we had the Flag Smashers, we had the Power Broker, we had, new Captain America, John Walker. We had like all these different. Now we have Sharon Carter. We've got, just like a lot of things.
You mean Sharon Carter / the Power Broker, right?
Right, possibly, yeah, could be.
I'm gonna roll with it.
But now Wakanda's in here too, so we're just like every week ramping up.
How does like Bucky convince them not to like just take Zemo out?
I have no idea. I do not know. That'll be an interesting way to open up the next episode for sure.
It's gonna have to be someone we know. It's gonna have to be a major player from Wakanda that he's gonna be able to have to talk them down.
Yeah,
that's the only way it's gonna happen. Or she's gonna take him out.
Yeah,
and Bucky's gonna be maybe a casualty on the way.
Right.
Because she's got no direct connection to Bucky. I mean, yeah, he's the White Wolf, but I mean, how much does she know of his past with Wakanda?
I don't know. Hey, if we got a Shuri or Denai Guerrera's character, that'd be fine by me.
Oh, if Shuri showed up, that may break the internet.
Yeah,
I think she is loved so much.
She is.
If she showed up and she came from what was the school at? Was it in the Bronx?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So if she showed up from like in one of her jets and just landed, and she walks out of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would. Yeah, I think that would crash Disney Plus.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah,
that would crash it, and it would be like, it would be fun. Yeah, we're gonna get more Wakanda. I know for certain we're gonna get more Wakanda.
Yeah,
I just don't know how it's gonna play. The show is getting so dense.
It's totally and
we only have 3 episodes left.
And it kind of runs the danger because there are so many ingredients in this thing. It's like you don't want too many cooks in the kitchen here. Like it will become overwhelmed eventually because there's so many. Some of these are going to have to get condensed, these different things. So you're right. That only speaks to Sharon Carter being the power broker because then two becomes one.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we can see the end of the whole Cap thing.
Yeah,
in the next episode where it's
I was one I didn't even mention. I mean, you got Isaiah still, so yeah. It's crazy.
We may be done with Isaiah.
Maybe,
we may be done with him. We know of him now. Sam knows of him now.
Right.
I don't think we're done with him as a whole for the the MCU, but I think as this show is actually going to be structured, I think we're done with him outside of referencing him.
Yeah, we're halfway through already. We're 3 episodes into a 6-episode arc.
Man, well, holy crap, guys. This was a fantastic episode. I loved every minute of it. Yeah. Hopefully the next episode they don't screw it up and put more Cap in it. But if he's in it, I want to see him get the crap kicked out of him.
Yeah.
See what I did, Cap? Crap.
That's one of the fun things about this series is like I have no idea where it's going. Each and every episode, just take me for the ride, man.
Apparently there's a comic out there that is very, very similar. But the only thing I say to that is the comics – Marvel uses the comics as source material, not as doctrine.
Yeah, there was a series that I actually read when it was coming out by Brubaker, where it was this. Actually, it was where Steve was shot and killed after the Marvel Civil War in the comic books, and so Steve Rogers wasn't around for a while. Somebody had to take the mantle, and it was Falcon and Winter Soldier together. But Winter Soldier was kind of dressed up as Cap and using the shield, but they were teammates kind of going through the espionage thing. So you kind of loosely based on that, graphic novel or that series that took place. I think that was released maybe back in the early 2000s. But yeah, you're right. The MCU takes those nuggets, those ideas, those graphic novels and just kind of does their own thing with it, which is very cool.
Yeah. But guys, we talked about it earlier. We do this every week, 10 o'clock ish, usually.
Around there.
Talking about our, whatever the most recent either after show is going to be. Right now, it's Falcon Winter Soldier. We're talking about doing a Bad Batch one. We have the Mandalorian and WandaVision. So we've got quite a few out there. Check them all out. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment below. Let us know what you think. If you like what we're doing, if there's anything you want to see us, change, or if there's a show you want us to talk about in the future that is coming that's maybe not on our radar, just let us know about it. We'll check it out and see if it fits, what we're doing here.
Absolutely. And if you haven't already, subscribe and like our channel on YouTube and check out dadnarok.com for more.
Okay, guys. Well, until we see you again next week at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard, I say keep it cheesy.
See ya.